Saturday, June 13th, 09:51 a.m. New York time. Welcome back, investors, to Winning Wall Street's Money. Going to go over the Magnificent Seven along with the stock index it's part of, which is the NASDAQ 100 index. Look at the NASDAQ 100 index weekly first. This is a 5-year chart history. Again, the keyword history, 5 years of data, price action. Each candle's a week. The NASDAQ 100 stock index is not the same as the NASDAQ composite. The NASDAQ composite is an index of all those NASDAQ stocks. The NASDAQ 100 index, the one we're looking here, is part of the S&P 500. And the NASDAQ 100 index periodically has companies rotating in and out, switching the poor performers for the better ones. So looking here, you see the bottom left, the low of 2022, the yellow horizontal line, and the top right, yellow horizontal line, the high of 2026. So this year, we made the all-time new highs. We're still above the highs of last year. I point that out because when we look at the individual companies, the Magnificent Seven, they're not painting the equal picture. Some of them are painting ugly pictures in performance. Another reason I rather own a good solid stock index as investment as well as trading instead of the individual companies. We have a gap down here that has not been tested. That's from last year. So this past week, we closed green, but we closed with a lower high than the prior week. We also took out the prior week low. So the trend is what? Lower high, lower low. Again, the trend is what? Lower high, lower low. The trend is down. The NASDAQ 100 trend is down. We tested in the balance area. Huge wick, bullish pin bar. I would look at multiple time frames for potential bullish single. This alone, for me, is not convincing me enough. Again, that's a separate video where I show the setup. Just showing this. That's a good setup, but I want to get more insight on multiple time frames. Apple, same thing. Red for the week, but what it did, made an all-time new high. Yep, all-time new high. So now I can update this. Nice. So it's performing better for the week. Again, the NASDAQ 100, lower high, lower low. Apple, all-time new high, and then huge sell-off. Amazon, even performing worse than the index and performing worse than Apple. Closed green, closed red, lower high, lower low. Again, the trend has been down for several weeks. Google, same thing. Look at this. Trend is down. Lower highs, lower lows. But what's interesting is these big, strong green candle bodies, big trading ranges, we're coming down on smaller trading ranges, and buyers are stepping in here on the bottom. That's good. Showing people are speculating, buying in here, speculating on the bullish side. They were wrong because, again, the trend is still down. Meta. It's underperforming the index. It's below the highs of last year. Really bad. See this red horizontal line? Yeah, not good. It's hurting the stock index more than many other companies. Microsoft. Look at this, also below the highs of last year. Huge sell-off this past week. NVIDIA made a high this year, but the trends are down. Lower low, lower high. Small trading range, little wick, buyer stepping in here. But you have other companies I just showed you performing better, such as Apple, such as the stock index, and Tesla. It's underperforming. It's below the highs of last year. Really terrible. Again, it's performing worse than the index. And for the week, it made a green candle, but lower high, lower low. The trend is down, way below the highs of last year. So if you're not situation aware, for whatever reason, you're in a cave, you're in the basement, you're floating around space, Tesla, the company CEO, Elon Musk, also owns SpaceX. So something I think I recall I mentioned a few weeks ago, there's a chance he might take this company and merge it into his new company on the stock market, SpaceX. SpaceX, I shared public data of the companies, very diversified. SpaceX does the satellites, does the rocket ships, does supplying, does a bunch of variety of different categories in the space. Also AI, SpaceX does. So again, if they want to make that index, that stock SpaceX, more diversified, he could add this company to it. And that could actually pros and cons, because that information still has to be publicly shared and how the individual departments are doing within the stock, within that company. Yeah. So time will tell. So simply, if you own the stock and if it becomes part of SpaceX, the price value here, what happens is this would be delisted from the stock market and it'd be merged into the SpaceX. Same with X. Elon Musk owns the company X, which used to be called Twitter. He owns that. He bought it. He privatized it. It went off the stock market. So if you still own those shares, he could take those and put those under SpaceX. Be even more diversified. Be auto manufacturer, social media, AI, Starlink, rocket ships. Just want to share that with you. I wouldn't be surprised he's taking that in consideration. And I bet the Wall Street banks are lobbying him to do that. So Netflix, not part of the Magnificent Seven, but very important company. Because again, it's a huge media, worldwide content. It's underperforming the index. It's below the highs of 2025. And for the week, look at that, lower, lower, lower highs. Now, these companies are so diversified from manufacturing to services. They're not all necessarily related to space. But they're publicly traded companies, and their earnings and their values are based on the performance quarter to quarter. So obviously, you see many of them are declining. There's something wrong with them financially. Product and service might still be great, but again, financially, something's wrong with them. You have less institutionals buying them, stocks are declining. Whereas I showed you which ones are making all-time new highs. So that would be more institutional money buying those, pushing those higher. Yep. So being that we're in the middle of the year, there are still people that are doing the long-term investing and rotation. Thank you as always, spending just a little time with me. That's it for the video. Thank you kindly for watching. Thank you for your support.